God, we're on the air. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Outside the Box Open Forum here with yours truly, Kate of Gaia and Tony Z. And we have a little special guest I'm not going to announce just yet, but, oh, they know who they are, but you sure as hell don't. Anyway, Tony, how you doing?
Not too bad, Kate. Yourself?
Oh, chomping at the bit all day to get this show rolling, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, well, you know, got kind of 24-hour delay there, so here we go. Rock and roll. Yeah, guys, I am working on a little document, still kind of sorting through the downloads because I was trying to get that off my universe last night. It's always easier when I talk about things to get it out there so that I get a better understanding myself because, you see, I actually do listen to what I say. That's how I learn. You know, I this is my mirror, you know, I listen to what's going on because I deal strictly in ethereal download world, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but whatever. The stuff comes and I just write about it and go, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, resonates like truth to me, and get the job done. So, where am I going to begin? Let me see. All right, you bunch of fraudsters. That's a good start. All right, okay, here's a test. To see if you are actually in contempt of court. Now, bear with me, guys, because the mirror has both sides here, right? It's like you flip a coin, heads or tails, what is it? Well, it's still a coin. And that's where I live. I'm coin, right? I don't have heads or tails, I'm coin. All right? And this is what we're dealing with on a worldly basis. You're dealing with the duality, you know. And I've used this example before. You can do it. This is actually a physical little drill you can do just to experience this truth. It's very easy. Just pick up a dollar or a pound coin, I don't care, 50 pence, something that you can toss in the air. And on one side, we refer to one side as tails and one side as heads, right? That would be the dragon, yeah? Okay, as long as we understand what the whore of Babylon is. All right, so that's what I call a heads or tails, guys. Head of the dragon or tail of the dragon? Well, I got the dragon by the rim, okay, and I'm not letting go. So here's the thing. What you do is you take a coin, you throw it, you know, toss it up in the air, let it hit the floor. And before it hits the floor, you have to call it heads or tails. And, of course, you'll call it whatever it is. And as soon as it hits the floor, I'm going to ask you one question. We'll call it $1 just for sake of argument. I'm going to ask you one question. Well, what is it? And you're going to say, in duality, that it's either heads or tails. And I'm going to say, no, you're wrong. It's $1. Always was, always will be. How are you looking at it? Oh, right, you're looking at it from left or right instead of left and right, instead of up and down, in and out, good and evil. And when you're caught up in the drama of the fear porn of this planet, you're watching the movies that other people like to create for you, and the more energy you flow at it, the better their creations get. And I'll tell you something else. This ramping up of all this nonsense that's been going on is in direct contrast to the amount of awakening. So the more stuff I see going on, the more I realize and see more people awakening. You see, because in order to have an equal and opposite, they must be equal and opposite. What we need to do is take that coin and put it on the rim, and that's what I'm hoping I'm going to get across to you guys tonight. That being said, where do I want to go from here? Well, I'll tell you, a little document I'm working on right now. I don't want to crack it open, only because if I do, it slows my computer down and I get all agitated and stressed out and what have you. And no one likes a stressed out Kate, trust me. Ask Tony, he'll tell you all about a stressed out Kate. Hey, Tone, huh? See, I am honest. Oh, and a quick shout out here for Donna, my lovely Donna in Londonderry. Derry girl, tag me whenever you get an opportunity, please. Just wanted to make sure that you heard that. You need to touch base with me, hon. Anyway, all right. So let's go back to the original fraud, shall we? The original sin. You know, I'm going to have to crack this document open because I started outlining it. It's not going to be a short one. Well, truth. In order to get it clear, you have to be very thorough. I think is probably the best word. So here we go. And I'm going to go through a couple of things. Going to let it, you know, marinate with you for a bit, and then I'm going to bring our happy guest in, and I'm going to introduce a few people that are in the call and, of course, coming into the show with us. So here we go. I just got to find it. Where is it? Unclean hands. There it is. You see a bunch of Pontius Pilate, you're walking around with unclean hands. You see, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. I'm going to try to show you how to wash your hands, right? This is an absolution, by the way. This is something you have to come to terms with on your own. And it's a commitment that you're going to have to make, because I made mine. I will not trespass in the free will choice of another and tell them they have to do the same thing I did. All I'm going to ask is have a look at it. And if there's something not resonating or true or whatever, let me know. You know, because I want to hear about it too, right? Two-way street. Imagine that. Up and down. You know, forward and backward. It's all the same. And I said it a long time ago, we're going to have to reverse out of this mirror, guys. Reverse. Re-ver-se. Re, Son of God. Ver, from verily meaning truth. And se, Latin for himself, herself, itself, the divine Holy Trinity. Yeah, we have to find our Son of God and truth as the Holy Trinity of one to get out of here. So, the word reverse means a lot more than you probably imagined. It means going backwards too. It also means to restate something, in as much as refuse means to rejoin something. So be careful what you refuse, especially lawyers. Cool trick, huh? Oh, these are tricky bastards, these boys and girls, I'll tell you. But I'll tell you, the ruse is up, because, you see, I have my own free will choice and my own free will intent in this universe. And I'm not sure about you, but I don't think it's quite nice or lawful or anything in the universal sense to aid and abet a newborn into a life of servitude. Whether or not my parents made the mistake, or in ignorance, or I know they weren't knowing of it, when they registered the name that, of course, became a part of me by virtue of my being their child. Unfortunately for the system, they got the name wrong and they got the gender wrong. You see, so there never was a contract to begin with. See, because I knew who I was coming in here. And we're going to try to expose a whole lot of stuff for you guys so you can catch on to it. But here, this is typical of something, you know, when I start open things up. Still haven't worded it all right. I fine-tooth things. Ask Tony, he'll tell you. But be it now known that all words, spellings upon and within this document shall be of my will and intent only, without assumption, presumption, on, of, by, for any all concerned, where my free will choice shall never be trespassed. Whereas a great fraud has been revealed. I'll go through what I've got right now, and then we'll go from there. Don't worry, this will pretty much be all wrapped up by tomorrow. I've just had a hard time trying to get things very simple, because that's the hardest thing to do, just to make it so that people can understand it. So whereas a great fraud has been revealed and is laid bare, where unclean hands are now in the light for all to see, the unclean hands being those of church and state. Whereas non-disclosure has intent to defraud, in that act, any all contracts of body, mind, and soul are null and void, nunc pro tunc, praeterea, ab initio ad infinitum, in this willful intent to commit fraud by omission and or commission, where others and all are concerned. And whereas threat of force perceived or real is proof of intent, inasmuch as aiding and abetting in this fraud, and where assumption and presumption is concerned, thus destroyed, and whereby one is known by their actions of that their willful intent, either knowingly or in ignorance of the divine laws under which all stand. And whereas all signatures, contracts, assumptions, presumptions, etc., et al. Are rendered null and void ab initio, inasmuch as all are in contempt, fraud, where the Crown-owned and copyright names, and I've listed all the names here, of those that I have contract with, are concerned. Whereas the intent to commit fraud via deceptions, deceptios, and willful non-disclosure of truth, where intent to enslave all humanity, mankind, by church, state, in this intent is exposed fully, whereby one's actions make one known, and whereas all names registered are, in fact, property of the Crown, Vatican, all matters pertaining to such names registered and the use thereof render all parties fraudulent in contempt via willful intent to deceive and or ignorance of use, where all matters of church-state remain matters of church-state, where use of the name registered are concerned, and where, when third-party interloping is evident, by my or anyone else's use of stated registered names. I mean, it means I'm guilty if I use it, and, well, fuck, so are you. Gotta hate when that happens. Mirror, mirror, huh? Anyway, here we go. Whereas it is not my intent to commit fraud or any contemptible acts, it is also my equal intent to never aid and abet any other living soul via willfully knowing or ignorance on or in their or my part, and any use of or claim made using the aforementioned names will render such attempt an act of fraud by willful commission. And whereas any all use of church state identification based upon these all crown copyright names or any variations thereof render the user in fraud absolute via their ignorance and by omission of disclosure of by church state. And whereas any all claims made by any all parties, agents, living souls upon another willfully or in ignorance to do so is guilty of fraud in that action by commission and or omission of bearing false witness, and is in contempt of church state self, and is willfully aiding and abetting fraudulent deception deceptios, whereupon judgment is rendered upon any all agents of church state self by the very action of claiming via crown copyright fraud. And inasmuch as intent, spirit, must be proven where all are concerned, it is now incumbent upon the church state that the willful intent to commit fraud ab initio is without intent to do so. With prior knowledge, the agents, clergy, bar members, all bound by oaths, etc., et al., to, of, for, by, with church state, did and do willfully deceive humanity, and is by the actions of all bound to church state, by oaths sworn, taken, given, judged by, of, in all acts of harm upon any and all harmed. So there you go. That's just the beginning, guys. I've just got my motors running here. But the bottom line is this, you know, I brought it up with the Ward of Admiralty, and we become wards of their church state fraud live by virtue of the registration of the name. You see, it was a creation by my mother and father in the spirit, and they got into contract and agreed together, and thereby making it a binding contract, spiritually, by the way, as to what I was going to be referred to as. You see, with me, it's anyone ever wants my name, well, with consideration, my name is. You see, I will never give anyone my name. Never. A gift is without consideration. So if you want my name, with consideration, it is Kate Renee. All rights reserved, as in rituals. No one makes a claim on me, my mind, body, or soul. And if they do so, they're in absolute defiance of universal law and a willful intent to trespass on free will choice, of which I will never do to them, and upon them I will grant the golden rule. That which you do upon others, you wish upon yourself. So all those that have harmed me have only wished harm upon themselves and are judged so in their actions. I cannot judge. Judge not lest you be judged. Nor can I forgive. You see, it says, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. It's a pretty cool rule book once you know how to read it. You know, and lose the religion bullshit, guys. All right? Get your heads out of your proverbial collective asses. Okay, I don't care what. I had a chat with someone a little bit earlier with regards to, Muslim or whatever. I don't give a shit. I don't care. You're all duped. All right? You know, if you really want to know the truth, that book, as it's being read literally in all these, false idol worshipping centers called temples, of which I'm turning tables now. I read about this really cool cat that went into a temple once and kicked the shit out of the tables and pissed off all the money lenders. Ended up getting, they crucified him, literally, figuratively, metaphorically, right? It's a story, guys. Don't take it so seriously. Because you got to remember that God that everyone's out there worshiping. I don't care if you're Muslim, Jew, Christian, whatever the fuck you are. I don't care, because here's the bottom line: you're worshiping a child murderer. For God so loved the world that he murdered his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in this jealous God shall perish and will have forever damnation. Choose. Not something I would choose, So if you're going to go out and worship a God that actually murdered his own kid, what are you actually in fact saying to everyone? That's okay. So don't cry to me about all the children getting murdered, because it's your fucking fault as much as it was mine. And I'm not pulling the punches anymore. And I need people to get this. I really need people to get this, because the next child that gets harmed, it's on your shoulders. I have washed my hands. I come to you with clean hands now. I know who I am. I will not willfully, with intent, knowingly, ever be in contempt of you. in as much as I ask for the same in kind, which I don't think is too much to ask for. It's like listening to people who go, "Oh, I can't find my wallet. I can't find my wallet." And I said, or purse, or whatever the case may be. I said, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe the universe is trying to tell you something. That's not you, But look at everyone scrambling. I can't do anything without this little piece of paper, this little piece of plastic, and all this, that, and everything. Caesar owns your ass. You are down hardcore on the whore of Babylon, baby. You are betting her, and you are like screaming that something, somebody's doing something wrong to you. Well, get out of bed. Okay, just get out of bed, guys. And as every day goes by, this reality that I have just gets more and more intense, and I see more and more children beating each other up. While I sit here and get emails and what have you from different people, and my own children, of course, of which, well, so much for that, this truth cost me, and I just don't want it wasted. So as every day goes by, this intensity gets more and more. And I assure you, these shows are going to get more and more interesting as time goes on. But the fundamental thing is, until you start looking in your own mirror, until you start seeing who it is and what it is you are, and what it is you are actually doing. Did I lose Tony? I think I lost Tony here. I'm looking for you, Tony, if you're on the board. He must have got bumped again. Oh, that's a problem when I get talking, Anyway, okay, I'm not even sure what's going on there. Okay, maybe just give me a sec. I'm going to get back into the speed of this. But I hope people are starting to sink in. There you are, Tony. There you are. Okay, sorry, we got a lot of callers in again tonight. Welcome to everyone, by the way. If you are a first-time caller to Outside the Box, you're about to have your eyes opened in a most profound way, and I mean that in all levels of it. I don't pull any punches. For those that have listened for any length of time, you already know what I'm about. I take no shit from anybody, and I will offer none either. Anyway, you there, Tony?
Yeah, sorry about that, Kate. I fell off the board there for a minute when Skype did a mental fit on me, and signed back in, and I was muted.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing, right? I'm going too. You know me, eyes closed, get her done, get her done. But the bottom line is, guys, and I've talked about this many times. The fraud was perpetrated. There was intent from the Crown State Church to deceive. There was intent. That's proven in the actions of what's going on in the world today. By one's actions, one is known. I don't need to judge. I already see it. I have my eyes open. I already see it. Am I going to be vengeful? No, absolutely not. What, and buy into it again? Are you kidding me? No, this is where it gets handed back on the universal level. And this is where people need to start waking up and start handing it back themselves. In any way, shape, or form. And I've made it very easy for many people. Very easy. I don't expect you to do what I did. I do expect you to do something. I need you to change your intent. Is it your intent to maintain the game as you see it and everything's peachy keen in your world? Because I assure you, if it was, you wouldn't be in on this call right now. You certainly wouldn't be listening to me talking. Because if this world was perfect, I wouldn't be necessary. If this world was perfect, you wouldn't have a need to listen into the show tonight, or any other night for that matter. And I've done many, many shows for years, and others have done them longer than I. All I'm doing is speaking from the experience of what I've been through, what I've witnessed, and what I've resonated with, and what I have discovered. This is not theory. Sorry, this is real school. This is down and dirty, in the trenches, been there, done that, got shredded truth. Now I just picked up my chainsaw. And, some days I carry a flamethrower to light things up, and some days I carry a chainsaw to shred things up. Typically chainsaws, I don't fire them up because I prefer to shred egos, just natural like. Besides, who wants to pollute, right? Anyway, so I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to let that kind of marinate a little bit. But if you're carrying ID, you are actually in contempt of court. This is the classic movie of Kramer versus Kramer. If the state owns your name, which they do, your parents sold it to them, what business is it of yours to interlope third-party style into matters of church and state? By doing so, you are consenting to the fact that you are part of it. So now what we have to do is turn the tables, and here's how you turn the tables. Is it the court's intent to have me, incriminate myself? Is it the court's intent to aid and abet me into using something that does not belong to me, thereby rendering me a thief, bearing false witness against myself and others, using something that never belonged to me that was given away? Without consideration, that's what a gift is. When it was registered, where it was falsely claimed that you took my divine creative feminine essence, well, I assure you, you did not. And I have thousands of songs to prove you wrong. Oh, no one ever took my creativity away, nor has anyone been able to claim it either. You see, because I don't even claim copyright. That's for fictions. It says right on the birth certificate, copyright, piece of paper, Whereas it was the willful intent in terms of ecclesiastical law and the deed poll to interfere with all children setting foot on Mother Earth, where they interfered, kidnapped. And I will be throwing some very, very hardcore definitions in here for people, and especially those of the Bar Society. They seem to understand their own language. And you see, here's the thing. When you have clean hands, now you can enforce the maxims. Those who make the rules must obey them. That's how it works. But those that are guilty cannot throw stones, you see. Right? Let he who is without guilt cast the first stone. Let's talk about washing our hands then, shall we? Of course I was guilty of it, unknowingly, by omission. Still guilty, though, in ignorance of divine universal law. I accept that. It's okay, I don't mind being wrong. I don't mind being wrong to the point where I find truth and will correct it. Makes more sense to me than not. You want to walk into a courtroom with unclean hands? Of course they have unclean hands. They're the ones that started the fraud. And here's the thing about fraud, especially in their statute world. There is no statute of limitations for fraud. And a fraud revealed is null and void, nunc pro tunc. Also another maxim is no one can be expected to do the impossible. You see, so they've got a bit of a quandary on their hands now, and I have a couple of people I will be getting in touch with, verbally. Yeah, British High Consulate for one, if they'll actually accept my phone call. I seem to scare them for some reason. Badly. But it doesn't matter. It was their jurisdiction. I arrived here in a place called Belfast in Ireland, which was, of course, and is, under some sort of fictitious crown rule of some sort, where someone has drawn imaginary lines on a piece of paper claiming that this is theirs. And no, sorry, I don't buy that bullshit anymore. No, so that was your jurisdiction. You're the one that committed the crime, and there was no disclosure given to my parents. Nor did the church come forth to say which god was actually being worshipped. Oh, they wanted to make it a god of love, but no, it's a god of war. The one that Moloch, Baal, that's the one that they're after. That's why they wear black robes, guys. These are Satan worshippers of the highest order. These are the walkers with the darkest of principalities. These are the ones that will murder the children, absolutely, to get their energy. You see, what we need to do now is return to universal honor, where they're off her. It's null and void. They're done. Okay? We've got to stand together on this. So on that happy note, I'm going to bring Swan in to have a chat, and I'm definitely going to crack open the line with Carol here, because I know she'll want to have a chat with Swan as well. But I know Swan has got lots of really cool information, and let it be known that I did get all the information I needed to, hopefully, to editor, publisher, whatever, for the ebook coming out for myself as well. But let's talk about Swan tonight. You there?
Hi there.
Hey, there you are.
How are you?
Oh, I'm intense. How are you?
Same. Same. And interesting, everything you've been saying, which of course I know. And what's coming up for me is, how do we get around it and still move around the planet and do what we need to do? For example, I'm in this situation right now with the Australian government, which is insane. 5.5 years married to an Australian citizen, still fighting for my spouse visa, and actually want to leave now. So how do we not buy into this system and still move around and do what we need to do?
Well, see, there's the issue, because that's not your problem anymore now, is it? You see, the state has to come forth and has to aid and abet in committing fraud. You see, this is one of the little things that I found out talking to the British consulate. And the only question I had was, is it your intent that I commit fraud by using a name that does not belong to me? Well, no. Okay, so how are we going to do this? You see, that passport, emergency passport, was got on my terms. And I was asked the other day, how did I do it and all the rest of it. Guys, I haven't got the time to explain it. You see, everything that I've done, I had to do on my own terms. I had to find out for myself. And while
that takes time.
Sure it does. Time, lots of effort.
Yeah, a lot of energy. And when we need to be moving around and doing stuff, then we're in a bit of a catch-22, aren't we?
Yep. And here's the problem. When somebody else does something for you, it's not yours. It's somebody else's. And there's the trap. Here's the thing. Don't buy into what I'm saying, because if you do, you're a fool, because you bought into somebody else's bullshit. What happens if I'm full of it? Right? You got to do your own homework, I will take full accountability for myself, and I would explain what I've done, and you can try things for yourself. That's great. I go back to the Judge Bows to Sovereign video. Again, it's all right there for anyone with eyes to see it. I didn't know 1% then what I know now. And I still was able to make a judge bow, because the simple truth is I know who I am. And I have that energy because the judge sensed it, and he knew I was going to back down. Do whatever you want. I went there fully expecting to go to jail. With no ticket even. There was no ticket. There was nothing. It was a test. That's how these guys work, You show up, they'll test you.
Yep.
They lost.
Well, I fought a few of those battles and won, but definitely it seems to me that we need a shift around this on a much broader level, much faster at this point.
Oh, it's coming, hon. Don't worry. I watch the world change when I send emails out. It's happened too many times. And don't think, and I'm saying this to everybody, well, what do you mean? Try it. Because I got to tell you, 2 days after that Judge Bows video went up and went viral, I was traveling along in my little car, and I was going, oh my God, I changed the world. So don't think you can't. Because there was a time that I thought I couldn't. Not anymore. That's why when I send emails to the Vatican, I don't care anyway. Some people ask me, well, did you get a more formal response? I don't want a fucking formal response. Like, I need their permission for my truth? No. There it is down your throat. Suck on that for a while. There's my carrot. Deep throat it.
There's another aspect of that as well. It's like, who the hell told you you didn't have the right to change the world? You're in it, aren't you?
Bingo. I'm okay with Ye Are Gods. Really cool cat. Same guy again. Said the same thing, You just got to pay attention, right? I love that poster. Did I tell you to start a religion? With this, the caricature of Jesus giving everyone the finger, No. And here's a guy that went in doing exactly what we're doing, right? So don't worship me, be me, and you can do greater things than I. Okay, you know what, Coach? I'm in the game, and I'm going to take you at face value. I'm going to make an effort. So here's the guy that goes in, turns over the tables in the money lenders, right? The temple. You got to change your mind, eh? That's temple. That's a bit of a tricky thing there. Double-edged, triple-edged, 7 layers actually. But what happens here is he walks in and kicks over the tables, and the next thing he knows, of course, the religio boys, the religio cosis chosenitis Pharisees, get all out of joint about it because, well, they can't charge their usury and they can't, steal from others, because that's what it is. You might want to look up another little term too, called kol nidre. That is an oath to negate all oaths until the next time you take the kol nidre oath, which is kind of stupid. It's counterproductive. But what these guys are doing in a magical sense, are casting off all their curses onto us. And while we carry them around, this is our world. So how about we cast those off and get some clean hands going on here? But anyway, this guy turns over the tables in the temple, and Pharisees come after him. Of course, that's the church, because they don't like that. And next thing you know is he's in court, another court, with this Pontius Pilate guy, and of course, Jesus wouldn't say anything to defend himself, and I'll tell you why. Because if he did, he's actually granting. If you need to defend yourself, you're granting the power away to say somebody over you is master. I don't need to defend myself. You need to defend yours. I will be my own master. Thank you very much. Right? Ends up, what did he get? Something like 39, I think it was 39 lashes he got. And, there's Pontius Pilate with blood in his hands because he ordered the flogging. Literally. And, of course, he can't satisfy the people because he's sold, bought, and paid for by his ego. Because the people are saying, well, either you do this or, we're going to kick you out of power here. And there's a guy, I can't give up all this power that I have, I'm special, and I've got, got the 1.7 VCRs, work with me here, people. This guy was bought and paid for, and he would not relinquish that for the truth. So what did he have to do? Well, he's guilty. He washed his hands of it, and he handed this individual into the democracy, the democracy, the ruling of the demons, the mob rule. That's why your governments insist they take fucking democracy around the world, because it's bullshit, right? I love people that talk about republics, the Republic of the United States and what have you. Yet they'll still use the word democracy. Why? Because it's ingrained into you through the media. That's all those years of watching TV and people like George W. Senior or George W. and George Senior and all the rest of them, Clinton, the whole gang, the whole right on up, are selling you with, democracy this and democracy that. No, you don't live in a democracy. You live in oligarchy.
God bless America. Suck the rest of the world. Pretty
much, there's a beautiful example again of divide and conquer. Right? My God's better than your God, and I'm going to go bomb your country to prove it, you little brownie. There's your American way, guys. Okay?
Talking of Jesus, one of the things he said that really strikes me quite often is when people ask him about paying taxes to the Romans, he said, "Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's." And people have interpreted that they have to pay their taxes to Caesar. But what he was saying was, question what is Caesar's, and then give him only what is due to him.
Yeah. Well, again, when you're playing in the Babylonian horror land, commerce, Phoenician, right? That is Caesar's. So render unto Caesar. So listen, if you want to use their cannibalistic paper notes, and that's what they are, and I went over that one the other night with regards to what is gold. Well, gold is the veins of mother, and when we base, originally we used gold and silver, of course. So here we are trading the consciousness of our own mother to get trinkets and what have you, and they've been doing that for a long time. And now what we have is all this paper money that you call debt, which is not. It's actually slavery, cannibals, okay? Because all that money was created off the bonds of your slavery. So what we're doing is trading in each other's lives when we use their government notes. And you see, employee, well, are you using their ferns? Are you using their cash? That's interdepartmental usage only for government employees. The fact that you have a registered name makes you an employee. I love these people that say to a cop, says, "Well, I don't wish to contract with you." Too fucking bad, asshole. You filled out the application. You're in contract. You carry a license, you're in contract. You carry any of their documents, you're in contract, and it's a willful one because you took a document that never belonged to you, but your parents insisted and convinced you that it was you, and you went along with it. We all did. I did. All right? It's okay. I sucked it up and went, all right, I screwed up. It's all good. Now we fix. All right? So you're walking around with document. You can't go get any of their government ID to play in the Whore of Babylon land. It's like you got to get your playground tickets, right? And there it is. And you're the one that walked out with that document, insisting that it was you when it wasn't. It was sold to the state. So there you are, third-party interloping, cannibalizing your fellow man by using their intergovernmental paper. Gold, silver, otherwise, I don't care. You're either trading in the consciousness of Gaia, Earth, Mother, that you're living on, that she's going to be very shortly shaking you off like the fleas on a dog's back, or that's not good enough. Let's just start trading in each other. And the more pieces of paper I can get means that's more cannibalism off my fellow man that I've got. So the more money you've got, the more proof of a cannibal you are. So have a look at the elites. What are they? They're cannibals. It's their money. And yet you worship it like it's a god. Well, I can't do this, Kate, and I can't do that. Well, tough shit. Neither can I. To a whole new level of understanding you probably won't grasp, and that's okay too. Like I said, I'm not expecting you to do what I did, but I expect you to do something. Because we've got to change this consciousness. And if you're not part of the problem, the pro-blemish, you are the problem. Right? You got to be part of the solution here. That's all. It's not rocket science. Make a choice.
Okay, just to let you know. To let you know, Johnny's on the line. He's waiting in the queue.
Oh, Johnny Guzman.
Yep.
All right. Well, if I can get my mouse to work here, that would be a good thing. Both my the mouse on one computer went down, the mouse on the other one went down, and there we go. It's deciding to fire up here. All right. Well, let's see if I can get Johnny in here. I guess he's listed in QL. Let me see.
He's signed in using the Skype.
Okay, right, looking for him. There he is. Okay, I'll bring him in. And Swan, I want to get talking about your book, the release, and all the rest of it as well, because that's important. So.
Thank you. Whenever.
Now it's fine. Johnny, you're in the call, so hang 10 for a sec, and let's talk about all the beautiful, wonderful things going on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Of course I can hear you.
Okay. Hey, how you doing, guys? Kate, Tony, how are you?
Good.
No bad, mate.
Yeah, I thought I drop in. I want to apologize, because we have been having some terrorist internet activity in my end, so we've had some trouble with the transmission, and between that and preparing for Santos' arrival here, we've just been pretty swamped. So I want to let all the audience know that Kate had announced that we were going to be on. We were scheduled to be on last Monday, but due to these terrorist attacks and other things that we've been kind of running like chickens with our heads, we weren't able to get the show on. So I apologize for that.
You don't need to. It's all good, Johnny. Listen, I know you have your hands full, and we're all getting zapped here and there. So no worries. Just good to have you. And yet, pretty exciting times right now with Santo heading over to Ecuador in the next few days. So this is pretty exciting stuff, guys.
Yeah. Before I wanted to mention something about the movie, but I wanted to share with you that last night there's a young girl from Argentina, and she saw one of my videos in Spanish, where I briefly talked about the fraud with the birth certificate and so forth, and she was very interested in knowing about this. And I was just listening to you and the woman that was here with you just a few minutes ago, that you were saying, well, everyone needs to do their own homework, right, and investigate this stuff. But in the case of this young girl, who is very eager to understand this and to sort of leave the fraud, but doesn't know how, so she's asking me questions, and I'm not an expert on this, obviously. I know some stuff. I haven't taken all the steps to sort of leave the system. Unfortunately, I'm still in here, but at least I'm conscious of it, and I know what the consequences are, and for sure I don't pay taxes, among other things, but I'm not totally out of the system yet. So where do you begin to explain to this young girl who's very eager to understand, and she also has another problem that does not know English, right? She's from Argentina, obviously. She speaks Spanish. And as you know, there's not that much information in our Spanish world about this stuff as it is in the English-speaking world. You know, with so many you guys, like you, Kate, and Santos, and Dean Clifford, and all these guys, and Tony over there. So, where does one begin in this case, Kate?
Okay, well, one begins in the mirror, right, and understanding that we are the ones that are partaking in our own fraud. Now we just have to turn the tables over on it. You see, where it is no longer my intent to commit fraud, never was during any transactions using the all-caps name that my parents sold, now it is incumbent upon church and state to say otherwise. Is it your intent to aid and abet in my fraud using a name that does not belong to me, that was sold to you? It was sold. It wasn't given. It was sold. That's what benefits are all about. Mm-hmm. You know, to my parents. I have no wish to commit fraud. Is it the court's intent? And anyone that's actually using the name on any claim whatsoever, especially with a Crown-owned name as well, are this is why we can't fight each other, right? And they'll let us commit fraud all day long, you know, between, you know, civilians, if you want to call it that. But as soon as you have a cop or one of their wankers involved, it's a whole different game, right? Then they come after you and crush you so that their owner's saved, right? Because you're walking in automatically in dishonor, automatically in contempt of court. You are, you know, lead us not into temptation. You're leading the court into temptation of aiding and abetting. And that's exactly the reason why I was not allowed to utter one word at the last, the 3 times the last day I was in court there, after they kidnapped me the second time, right? So, and there's a reason for that. Because it was, they wanted me to stay in honor. That was it. Because this was a matter between Crown and Crown, nothing to do with me. That's why you get a lawyer, because they're part of the Crown. This is between the Crown and the Crown, and who's going to milk whose bond. And of course, we, being the fools that we are, think it's us, and it's not. You know, I'm not interested in interloping in matters of church and state. Sorry, I'm separate. That is the separation of church and state. The separation of them from me, not church from the state, because they're one and the same. You know. Okay, so give me a scenario here, so I can understand it a little clearer. You're going 1,000 miles an hour, and I'm trying to clearly understand, to put it in simple terms, to tell my Spanish friends and ain't gonna happen, Spanish Johnny. People. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. What do you mean? I'm sorry. There are too many steps to be taken at this point to get your friend where she needs to be. And the first thing I understand that. Okay. I understand that, but I just don't understand how to give her the first step. So what you're telling me is way beyond the first step. Oh, hugely. This is we're in the home stretch here. Right. So I mean, if I tell her this way, what you're saying to me is she's just gonna be, You know, what do you mean bond? What do you mean in fraud? What do you mean? No. Don't even go to the bonds. That's all distraction. All right. I'm trying to get this simple, and it is. It's very simple. Right. So this is what I'm saying to you. So just give me a scenario. So I get a speeding ticket, right? And I don't know how to defend myself. I get this ticket, and I got to go to court now. So I go to court. They called my name. What do I do? Pay the ticket. Because? You're already in contract. Because I agreed already and gave him my driver's license, and he wrote up a ticket. Yep. You're in fraud otherwise. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So I need to know not to carry a driver's license and know how to present my paperwork or whatever it is. The only document I carry at all is to make sure if anyone ever comes across my path, which they won't, but if they did, all I'd give them is a birth certificate. There, that's all. That's the only thing the government ever gave me. I have no contracts with it. That has something to do with state and state. That's Crown property. Doesn't belong to me, but that's what the government gave, so do what you want with it. It ain't mine. You want to take it up? But that birth certificate is a birth certificate that they gave you. They gave it to my parents. They didn't give it to me. You see, it wasn't them aiding and abetting me in my fraud. It was my parents. They didn't know. They convinced me for many years that I was such and such a name, which I wasn't.
Okay.
They sold that to the state. So this is like the movie Kramer versus Kramer. This is Crown versus Crown. It's none of my fucking business. And that's the point we got to get to. You got to start understanding it. And here we are, defending the one thing that we think is ours. We take it from cradle to grave. You got to defend the honor of your name. No, you got to clear it. You got to clear your name. Your name was lawfully, legally, universally sold. However, there's a catch, right? Good for the goose, good for the gander. Was it the Crown and was it the Church and State's intent to, deliberately and willfully withhold disclosure of all ramifications of such a contract? And if so, full disclosure is now required, lest you be in fraud. Poof! Table's over. There's a mess of coins on the church floor right now.
So now you drive your car, you, Kate, and you get stopped for X reason. You just show them your birth certificate, and you tell them what you just told me.
Well, that wouldn't happen to me, but yeah, anybody. Not a citizen.com. Spend a bit of time there.
I understand, but why wouldn't it happen to you?
Why? Because that's not in my universe. You see, Johnny, I don't live in the physical meat stick world where most people do. I choose not to have that. And I have the power to do that because I know who I am. I write my own script now. And I don't have any of these goonies in it.
Okay, I understand.
Your phone's going off.
Sorry.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I understand that. I understand what you're saying. Okay, but I'm just trying to get a clear idea. And we've had some of these discussions in our show, right, where I've questioned you and I said, well, Kate, this is your reality actually, and you have created that, okay?
My movie. Yep.
But it's not as easy for someone else to do that.
But I'm not here to save anybody else, Johnny. I'm here to save me. And only if but one shall awaken. So why? It's not that I don't care. It's not that I'm not concerned. The only one that you need to be concerned with is you. You see, because in saving yourself, you are saving all, are you not?
Yes.
Okay, that's where people have to get to. When they start realizing that they are one of all and all of one, then we're going to get somewhere. Until then, meat stick. Go back to bed. The whore's waiting for you.
But it shouldn't be that way, so drastically. Either you
but Johnny, why do you think I am so passionate about it, and why do you think I have been so driven to try to get this information into people's heads? It's your fault. Get over it. Let's solve it. We got to go back to the original non-disclosure. What was the intent of the church state with the registering? They got to clear that one up. They never disclosed that. So it's a different game here. What was the dark principality intent? Well, it was to enslave you. Okay, I got that. They kidnap. They do all that stuff. Human trafficking. That's what we're all guilty of when we use their fiat currencies.
Right.
Human trafficking, because you're trading in notes that are based on the lives of others. They're called bonds. Universal. As above, so below. So the more people go chasing after these life notes, they're not debt notes. They're literally someone else's life because it was created off a bond, right? That's how the money's made, and then we apothecate it with our intent called signatures. You sign something, well, your intent was to sign it, so whatever's on that piece of paper, that spell is intact. All the words. That's why I don't write documents anymore. I write spells. That's what they do. So I take their spell and I put it. What happens to a spell in the mirror? You break it. So I'm putting their spells in the mirror. Right? Read a spell backwards, see what happens.
Okay. So now, what for the skeptics or for the new folks like this girl from Argentina, I would ask, if I was her, I would say, well, what evidence do you have? Who's doing this, or how do you know this works?
Oh, okay. Well, I me and egos, I won't satiate it. And I said, tell you what, why don't you get up off your lazy ass and go out and try something? I'll tell you what I did and what happened with me. It's why are you all of a sudden my responsibility? You see, and this is another thing I say as well. I get tired of people coming back saying, well, I use so-and-so's technique, or I use so-and-so's, documents and everything else, and it didn't work. And it's just, well, no, because they weren't yours, you dope.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't grasp it, and that's everyone looking for the drive-through burger of truth. They don't get their truth in 2 minutes. They're screaming at the window. Right? Sorry, can't help you. This buffet takes a bit of time to cook.
Right. Well, we're just so used to just taking the quick pills to alleviate the headache. Right. So I mean, obviously, it's the same thing in this kind of.
And then you bump into someone like me that tears you a brand new one for doing it. That's. Mm-hmm. I don't yield on that, Johnny. You me. I won't yield on it.
No, I'm not asking you.
No.
I'm asking you because I wanted to present this in a, without having to scare anyone, because as it is, everyone is, panicking. It's, the financial crisis, the Monsanto,
the drama, the fear porn. Yeah, absolutely. They got everyone running.
And if it's not that, it's the other new age stuff, the other gurus. So
the nonsense. Absolutely.
We're bombarded by all kinds of things. If it's not that, it's they're fighting because they want this president or they want the other president, and it's just a big circus. But there's got to be a fine line or at least a middle ground where you can present this in a clear way.
No,
they can take the initiative.
Okay, well, no, it's not up to me to tell somebody to get up off their lazy ass and go and do something. If they're not happy with the situation, they need to do some homework. Now, I'm going to give you the answer. You won't get it, but I'm going to give you the answer. If but one shall awaken. There's your answer. Mm-hmm. They said it themselves. The dark principality said it themselves. If but one shall awaken, we are doomed. The word doomed, by the way, means judged. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm not interested in anyone else awakening but myself. And I will do my utmost to bring that as much as I can so that others, I don't need to be the one to awaken, but I'm certainly working at it. And that's everyone's responsibility. I have my puzzle piece. I can't tell anyone, young lady or young man or whatever the situation is, regardless of where they are in the world, I can't tell them who they are. They've been listening to their masters tell them who they are for their whole lives. I finally got my canvas clean. I'm painting on it now. Big difference.
Mm-hmm. But someone listening to this program and hearing you say this right now would say, well, then why are you on the air giving all this information? Aren't you trying to save anyone?
Of course I am. I'm trying to save myself, and aren't you me?
Okay. I'm just playing here. I'm asking you. I'm sure people are saying these questions. They're hearing you saying this, but then at the same time, they're saying, well, why are you on the air saying this stuff? But you're absolutely right. But I guess that's what people don't get.
Well, this is part.
I'm sure a lot of people listening to you are very well educated in this field and have taken steps.
Unfortunately, you're correct. That's the problem. Too many are far too educated. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the biggest hurdle for people. I'll give you an example, and I know it's a no harm, no foul. Listening to Bill Turner on Monday night, I was chomping at the bit. I had the chainsaw up and running, waiting to get on the air with it. So what was I going to say there? I got a bit of an echo in the background, so I'm not sure if that might be. I just opened Carol's mic, by the way. I'm hearing an echo. Has somebody got speakers on?
No.
Hey, you.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty darn good, kiddo. How are you doing? You sound pretty darn feisty tonight. I'm proud of you.
Well, no, I'm not taking any shit from anybody, especially the crowd in the state and the church and the rest of these wankers that are all dark principalities that have been, hammering away at us for eons and eons. It's time to end this.
Well, honey, you're a way shower, and I've been a way shower too. It's a real hard road to take, and usually we experience things months and sometimes years before most of the people that we're here to help experience it, and it's really hard to help on certain levels because that stuff is so ingrained in our entire society worldwide that it's piece by piece, layer by layer, and all the people that have tried to help break through this mortgage and credit stuff and money thing. They've all gone to jail. All of them had really good intent, but when you get in their courtroom, like you say, you might as well kiss your backside goodbye because they'll have you.
Well,
and,
because
it's
you're
really
in
hard.
contempt.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, but once you know who you are, you're not the name. Now you turn the tables on them and say, is it your intent? Is it this court, church intent for me to commit fraud? Are you willing to aid and abet in the incrimination of myself for me to claim something that does not belong to me, thereby rendering me a thief? There has been a mistake obviously made here, and I'll tell you there's something else a whole lot more sinister, is there was a kidnapping that took place on June 18th, 3 days after I got here, where you aided and abetted a minor into contract of a universal nature via the willful or unknowing intent of my own parents. But then again, you didn't disclose the entirety of the contract, did you? It's just assumed, and if you don't, a prime example of this proof today is if you don't register a child, they'll threaten to not let you leave the hospital, and they'll have all sorts of armed goons come around saying you need to do this. That is not a willful choice, but unfortunately for those, the parents that use the hospitals and whatever are still carrying ID, still thinking that there's something wrong. You can't use their courts, guys, because you're coming with unclean hands. What we need to do is show them how dirty their hands are. I've washed mine of it. That's the difference. I took responsibility.
Well, honey, it's an evolutionary process. We have to first be exposed to it, which you are doing a very commendable job and a very good job of exposing the fraud. And then we have to, each person has to make peace with it in their own mind and their heart as they are able to. And it's not a one-size-fits-all. That's the sad part. We have a situation in our phone family where a lady wanted to have her baby at home, and things went wrong, and they got her husband called 911. They got her in the hospital, and then they charged her with she had 2 children already. They wanted to take her children away from her and take the baby away from her and the whole business, and they finally couldn't pin anything directly on her, so they told her that her name is going to be mud in this particular state for 5 years, and she has the possibility of losing her children just because she didn't want to go to the hospital to have her baby, for crying out loud. And so she's left that state and gone back to where her family lives. But it's tragic. It's happening all over the world. And
well, again, Carol, the bottom line is very simple. The remedy, I see the remedy right there. Get out of the slave status.
Well, there wasn't a thing they could do about this because the baby was at jeopardy, and so was she.
No, but Carol, it doesn't matter. Mom's a slave because she's walking around with ID, and they will do whatever they want. This is the contract I'm after.
Yeah. Well,
nothing beyond that.
It's beyond some of the people's control, is what I'm trying to say to you.
No, it's not.
And yes, it is. And
no,
like
it's not,
I just
Carol.
said,
I assure you, I'm trying to give you that back right now. This is what I'm trying to share with you.
Okay.
What
could she have done when she was ill and the baby was at risk, and they took control? They even had guards at her front at the door of her hospital.
I don't.
Mm-hmm. And so
they don't want any of their slaves uprising.
Okay, it sounds to me from what you're presenting here that we need to learn the verbiage that you're trying to impart to us to get us away from them. Is that? Am I on track at all?
I just need. This is the thing. I don't want people trying to learn the verbiage. I want this for everyone. I'm not talking, the Dave Wynn Miller types.
No. We need to learn the verbiage.
Carol, I need to finish this concept. Okay, I need to walk down this road. So just give me a second here. Okay. This is so simple. It's so hard to grasp. It really is. The bottom line is this: until we clear our name, we are slaves. That's what I'm doing. I'm clearing my name and those that were in contract with me, my children, my mother, my father. Non-disclosure was never given. The contract that was being presented as registration, where there was willful intent on part of church and state to enslave humanity. That's the contract I'm after.
Well, the willful intent is on the part of the dark agenda. They performed a unilateral contract on us. Only one party knew the contract, and that was them. And so if we can learn your verbiage, what I was trying to get to, and I think I didn't say it correctly maybe, it was confusing, but what you're saying, what I've heard you say tonight is very excellent, about are you allowing me to commit fraud? Are you going to be party to my fraud? Da-da-da-da-da. If we can learn and understand that, and I think that's where maybe we need to listen to you talk about that more so we can finally start getting that concept in our heads. And then we can start taking the first and second steps a little bit at a time to access what we need to do.
Well, this is why I write. When I do shows, this is another thing, too. I need the time during the day or whenever I get time. And, of course, I'm going to be responding to everyone. That's the nature of me. Party house in the 11th, right? I write stuff so that people can understand it. And when I put a document together, I'm very thorough. I don't do it willy-nilly. And again, I've had a very hard time today because downloads have to occur. And what I got out of me today was a struggle. It's like sitting down and trying to write a song. The concept is in my head. Getting it out on paper simply for people, that's the chore, where people can get it. I know what's happened here. Yes, it was a unilateral contract. It was only one-sided. Mom and Dad walked into it with their eyes wide shut because the assumption and presumption was that they should have. So there was a willful consent on their part. However, it was one done in ignorance.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's what made it unilateral.
Yeah, and this is why the contract has to be revealed. That's where I'm at. This is the contract. And City of London lawyer. It's all about contract here. So there's only one contract, and I want the one that binds body, mind, and spirit. Mm-hmm. And that's done in the Regis stir. There's the clue, Regis, to rule the creative divine feminine essence. Well, I've reclaimed my feminine essence. Sorry, that wasn't for sale. And regardless that my parents are the beneficiary and fiduciary of me, I'm the fruit of their labor. Right? This is where we save ourselves and save the children. We got to work this backwards, right? Everyone's trying to save their children forward. No, we got to save ourselves backwards from with our own parents. And this is not an easy mirror to look into. This is why I spend the time that I do to write things. And as much as I want to answer Johnny's question for the young lady, I'd love to be able to say, well, here it is. And that's what I'm working on. So it's very frustrating for me because of what I know and what I'm trying to share with people based on my own experience. And what a lot of people will find happening is I will come across with a PhD attitude talking to someone in kindergarten.
Yeah, that's hard.
I know, and it's not my intent. How do I dumb this down? And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. How do I make this easy for people to understand when it is such a simple concept, but there is a long way to get to that simplicity, right? Because we've done everything in our power to be complicated. Look at our universe and world around us. The more we get into technology, the further we get away from ourselves. Welcome to Atlantis, Part 2. No, thank you.
Maybe it just takes some time to percolate in your mind. Maybe you just need to sit with it longer and not push yourself too far forward too fast. Sometimes if I wait, Spirit will give me or I will give myself the understanding of how to present it.
Agreed.
But it doesn't come, like they say, the first word of a letter is the hardest one, or first word of a story is the hardest one to write.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying with regards to songwriting. I cannot sit down and write a song. I sit down and I catch one or I don't. And right now I'm still in the process of trying to catch this one, where the lyrics make sense. It's where, what a song is. It's taking really big pictures and concepts and putting them into 3.5 minutes worth of words and song, which is not much. And that is the art form.
Well, I'm a published author too, a published writer, if you will, and it does not come easy for me. But when it comes, it just rolls. And I've done artwork too, and you have to be in the mood. You can't. I'm not a controlled person like, the guy that Charles Schultz that did the Peanuts comic strip. I understand that he went to his studio at 8 in the morning or whatever, and he worked for 8 hours, and then he came and had dinner and whatever. I can't force that kind of thing. It either comes by spirit or it does not.
Well, yeah,
and so,
that's contrived. That's why I can tell someone who's sitting down trying to write a formula song, where they sit down and deliberately want to write in a certain format and whatever. I worked with the Nashville people, okay? And it's contrived. It's garbage. But here's the thing. They use all the same chord structures and all the same melody lines and all the rest of it, just mix it around a little bit. So one hit is, pretty much identical to the last one. Me, I was a little bit more original.
Well, I'll tell you, your music that I've heard so far is so captivating that I'm in love with it, and I'm anxious to get my hands on some of it for myself. And I looked up the name that you gave me of that band early on, and all I got was somebody else that I knew wasn't you.
Yeah.
So but anyway, you do have a wonderful gift, honey, and it has to come. But it has to come in its own time, and you can't hurry those things, unfortunately.
Nope.
So, Johnny, I'm with you because the information that Kate is giving us is so valuable, and yet it's so frustrating for us that don't know what she knows, and it's very frustrating. But if we listen to her long enough, it will come, and it's just like starting a new class. Like if you were going to sign up for Greek language in school, you'd get in there and the teacher would start talking Greek or something, and your head would just swim. But if you sat in there long enough, certain pieces would start coming together. And I think that's what our process has got to be. We've got to listen to Kate as often as we can and pick up the nuggets that we are able to pick up. And I'm just so grateful to Creative Source for producing Kate.
I understand that. Carol, is it? Carol?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Okay, Carol. I understand, and I look at it like this. I guess maybe this is how I wanted to express it, and I'm comparing it, for example. I've been sitting in this chair doing my programs and preparing all these things for our film with Santos, and pretty much I haven't done no exercise, God knows how long, and I'm stiff. So my legs are stiff. I'm very tight. I can't barely sit in a cross-legged position. So I said, well, I need to do something to loosen my flexibility. But I also understand that my flexibility comes from my mind, right? So it doesn't work that my body is going to be flexible if my mind is not flexible, right? But nevertheless, there's a physical problem there that I'm tight, I'm not flexible. So I work on my flexibility in my mind. So in a situation where I know that I'm very anal, let's just say I understand and I catch myself and I say, well, okay, there you go, not being flexible, Johnny. So let's be flexible. But now my next step is, well, what will help me, mind, body, right? Yoga. So I says, I'm going to start doing yoga. So I start doing yoga. There's certain postures that I can't do because I understand internally there's something blocking me, and I can't release it. But as the moment that I release that, I will be able to do that posture, right? Because it has to flow that way. But I understand that too. That I have to keep trying. I got to keep, doing other postures. I have to practice more. This is what Kate is saying. But what I'm saying is, in this particular case, can I tell this girl, you know what, start practicing yoga, just to say this, as for example, that would be her first step, so then she can become aware of other things. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand the process, and I think, how old did you say she is, 9?
No. She's in her 20s, 20.
Oh, she's
21.
an adult. Can she listen to Kate's calls?
She doesn't speak.
She doesn't speak English. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to jump in here, guys. The frustration you're hearing from me is the fact that I want to get this so simplified and codified for everyone, and that is what I'm wrestling with right now. And the questions that get asked of me are the ones that I'm trying to answer, and I don't have it simplified enough. Individuals.
But,
It's like, here it is in a nutshell. I have to get Swan in here because she's got some stuff she needs to say. And not to cut anybody else short, I'm just going to, and we're going to carry on with this. I just need Swan in here for a little bit because she was.
Well, let me make one comment, honey, before you go to Swan. And hi, Swan. I love you, dear one. But let me make one comment. You are trying to unravel hundreds of years of the dark Illuminati, and they're controlling us. And you're trying to do it. You're trying to do it in an instant in time, if you will, an instant in history. It's got to take time to unravel it. Unfortunately, So that was just what I wanted to share with you. And thank you very much. Nice to meet you, Johnny.
I'll leave your mic open, Carol. So it's wide open, hun. That's exactly it. We're dealing with illusions that have been around for a very, very long time, that have been drip by drip on us. And what I've done and what I've witnessed over the last 3 years is that drip by drip getting removed. And it's been pretty awesome to watch. And listen, when you make a judge bow, you're doing something right, and you know that there is power in you to have that done. They don't do that willy-nilly. Sorry.
I think that is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard in my frickin' life, is a judge bowing to you. Was he wearing his black robe?
Yes, he was.
Okay, get a cartoonist to do a cartoon of that. That has got to be the best cartoon that'll ever be published. That's all I got to say, babe.
Right on. That'd be funny. Swan, honey, jump in. Don't be shy. Not on this show.
Just waiting for an appropriate moment. Well, everything you say is true, and I'm right with you on that. And I think the challenge for people that Johnny's talking about and Carol's talking about is that we create our reality. So when we're having these experiences, like the one I'm having with the Australian government, which I'm about to walk away from, we have to see how we're creating this reality. We have to look at our karma. We have been these dark controlling beings in past lives. We have to know ourselves on all levels. And when we do know ourselves on all levels, then we empower ourselves to deal with this 3D reality that we're struggling with right now. There's a reason why Carol, your friend, ended in hospital the way she did. She needed to go through that experience for a reason, obviously, that she hasn't understood yet. I've had my own experiences with hospitals, and it goes against everything I believe in, but I've been forced to go. And actually, I was given 3 months to live 10 years ago in Belgium, and I had to sign a form saying I was a Jesuit, prevent them treating me, because it's the only way they can't treat you lawfully if you say you're a Jesuit. But these were experiences that I needed to go through in order to understand what's happening in the world and how to empower myself more. So for Johnny, your friend in South America, she has to find out who she is. This is what I think Kate is talking about. Kate has reached that point, like I have, of knowing herself fully on all levels, knowing her divine self. And that's where the empowerment comes in, to deal with this crazy 3D reality, in knowing our divine heritage, clearing, healing the polarity from the divine that gives us this life experience of feeling separate and living separately.
Yeah, I agree. That's the duality. I muted out Johnny and Carol just because that feedback was going on. So I think it was on your line, Carol. So I'll bring you guys back in. Don't worry. I just wanted to stop this echo that was driving me nuts. Hearing everything twice. Absolutely. What it boils down to is finding that singularity again. And another line that I like to use of late is, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And if you are in duality, it means you're in fist fight mode. You got 3 crosses on the hill. One is fist fight, the other one is hold the light, and the other one is carry out the dead. There's your 3 choices. Which cross are you going to bear? Fist fight, well, that's people just belligerent, not knowing who they are, going out trying to make claims on things that aren't theirs. The thing is, any contracts that were entered into with that name were entered into in pure fraud on both sides. Without question, they're null and void. The contract is null and void based on the fact that the neutrality of both sides are guilty. It's a null and void contract. It's not about you did this to me and I'm going to do this to you. That's fist fight. That's the thief on the left side. Okay? Let's go to the thief on the right. The thief on the right is the sleepy one. Typically, you'll find them in the military, cops, legal professions, whatever, because they're just carrying out the dead. And you'll find them with name tags on as well, not having a clue as to what they are, who they are, and they're chasing the, quote, American nightmare, unquote, dream, whatever you want to call it. I just call it what it is, the Whore of Babylon, and you're walking with the Mark of the Beast. The Mark of the Beast is the name that, as long as you insist is yours, you will be marked. It's that simple. I hate to put it that simple, but that's it. So the game now is to get to that understanding. And what Johnny was saying earlier about, needing ID to do this and that and the other, listen, it's when the intent changes, that's when things change. I'm not interested in people, not being able to survive. I'm on my own particular hill, standing in my own particular position, because this is my piece to stand in. And I've got to that end road where I have absolute abhorrence for anything commerce. Okay, that's where I live, right? I do things only out of necessity, things that I need. That's it. And it's done with that in mind. That is my intent, not to harm another, and also not to harm myself by not surviving, right? One cannot be expected to do the impossible. The physical realm has limitations. Universal, not so many, all right? So we have to work within that. For example, like with Santo traveling, he knows exactly who he is, and he has to use the documentation in order to get from point A to point B, but there's a different understanding there. He understands who he is, and this is only out of necessity. This is not out of sleepy greed, rather, of just, I'm just going to play along with the game. You walk through an airport and try to find me anyone in that airport that knows exactly what I'm talking about right now. They don't know who they are. I'll tell you, there was a couple of instances in Toronto and in Dublin where there was an individual walking through the airport that knew who they were, and that was because I was carrying an emergency passport that I got on my terms. I had to go in the flesh to get it. No ID either. Isn't that amazing? What are the odds of that? So there you go. Again, these are my experiences. Johnny, can I tell that young lady that this is what you do? No, I can't. Because I'll tell you, when I was doing it, I didn't know what to do either. So I worked my way through it. I had to work my way through it. So you take baby steps. All of a sudden people wake up to this slave reality and they want out. Of course they want out. But they got to know who they are first. It's like I said the other night, here we are in, training ground for gods and angels. If you had the ability right now to have ultimate creation at your fingertips, could you be given that responsibility where you wouldn't harm anything or anyone? Could you handle that responsibility? My answer is very simple. No, not yet. I've got a ways to go. But I'm working towards that. And anyone out there that says, I can handle being a god, well, I'll tell you what. You get one errant thought of let me see, and I'm not going to manifest this. Everything I'm saying right now is not going to manifest, so I'm always careful, right? You think of a bus blowing up. That manifests instantly. Can you handle it? Can you handle not thinking of that? Can you handle me throwing something at you mentally as a mental picture and not visualize it, thereby creating it? This is what we're dealing with here. They're throwing us mental pictures. That's what this world is, and we're creating it. Everything around you is past. It's all over. It's all over. It's already built, right? You see? So every creation is past, present, and future at the same time, because it's being created at all points. And once it's created, it's still being created because it's decaying. Everything works in that cycle. There's the illusion of infinity and the infinity of illusion. Which side are you standing? That's really what it boils down to. So, anyway, I'll bring Johnny and Swan. Actually, before I bring these guys back in, what do you got going on? Because I want you to talk about your book that just got released, and what we can do to get the word out there for people to pick it up.
Well, the book is now on Amazon. I've made it available as an ebook, which is incredibly affordable at $9.99, and I'd love to give it away free, but the funds from this book have a destiny to be part of a foundation to make a difference on the planet with humanitarian ventures and planetary 3D realities that do need money to shift. So that's why I copyrighted it and I'm selling it. It's the Book of Sarah, Jesus' Secret Wife, and it is an allegorical story of ourselves as divine beings having a human experience and remembering our divine heritage, remembering our divine connection, and that's the point of the book, really. And it's interesting because someone who is on a personal vendetta against me has written a very vitriolic review on Amazon about me and the book, and how I think I'm Jesus' wife and I'm Queen. It's written in a pen named Clara Renata that I think I'm Queen Renata. And yes, I do. I think we all are. This is the point of the book. We all are the divine feminine, and we all are in the process of rebirthing the divine feminine onto the planet. And I've just been talking to a healer friend of mine in the UK this morning about this, and he pointed out something that I hadn't really realized, is that we've been trying to rebirth this divine feminine for hundreds of years, since medieval times, and the patriarchy at that point took such a dark hold on the planet that it has really taken over, and that's what we've been battling against, and that's what we're trying to shift. We're trying to come back to this natural way of the divine feminine, which is the way of love, the way of forgiveness, the way of oneness, and the way of acceptance, and that's what the book's about. So the book is a real activation of that. It's very lyrical, it's very poetic, and it's not too long. It takes time to read because it's a journey, but as you journey with that, so people are telling me who are reading it, they're having an experience of being with the divine family, being taken back into that divine family, and I believe ultimately that's what we're all yearning for.
Well, I couldn't agree more. You know, while you were speaking, I see the patriarchal as the prodigal son that, you know, comes home after all sorts of misgivings and mistrials, pun intended, and all the rest of it, to the family and being accepted back in again. And that's what we're dealing with here. What we're dealing with are the final death throes of the prodigal son trying to return home. Now, if someone that harmed you came up to you and said, listen, I understand that I harmed you and it was not my knowing intent, I have awoken to it, and let's make this right, what are you going to say? Are you going to be the vengeful one and say, no, I'm going to, you know, then you're a fool. And you've missed the whole point of the lesson called Earth. What you need to do is allow, in your own reality, those that have harmed you, and vice versa, those you have harmed, knowingly or unknowingly, to come back into the fold. And the more we resist it, we resist it. We put a cyst on the Son of God. That's the S-U-N. Interesting that the sun is a star. Sun, masculine, star, feminine. They're both one and the same. What part of the Trinity are you missing? Are you stuck in divine duality? Are you divine dead and conquered? Wake up to who you are. You are the himself, herself, itself. That's why they call it going into court pro se, for himself, herself, itself. Unfortunately, everyone walking in there that doesn't know who they are, doesn't know that they're actually using the property that belongs to somebody else that was rightfully sold, albeit through fraudulent disclosure. So there's your two negatives multiplied together to create the positive. This is not about vengeance. This is about balance. This is about bringing things back into balance. The lance of Baal, lance, balance. This is how we kill the beast, and the beast
That's right.
is within us.
That's right. And when we remember this in ourselves, when we wake up to who we are, and when we're in that flow, and we're not always in that flow all the time, but when we are, we find ourselves in the right place, and we're supported to be wherever we need to be and whatever we need to do. I came and went from the States for years, and when I finally was told I had to apply for a visa if I was going to stay there any longer, and I went to see a lawyer, she said, no one can come and go from the States like you have. How have you done this? It's because I was on purpose. I was aligned to my spiritual purpose, and I was in that divine flow of doing what I was meant and guided to be doing in co-creation with the divine. And that's what this book reminds us of, and it helps us come back to how do we get back into that flow and stay in that flow. And sometimes we go places where the flow isn't in order to discover those places within ourselves, the mirror of where are we not in flow yet, where are we not yet transformed, where are we not holy or whole yet.
Agreed. I just opened the lines up. We're getting some feedback on your line there, Carol. Just letting you know that. So I'm not sure if your mic, your phone is picking itself up, or if it's just a loop in the connection. So
I don't know, dear. I'm going to have to leave the call here in a couple minutes anyway, because I've got my call to open. Yeah.
Well, quick announcement of your call for people that will want to tune in.
Oh, bless your heart. Are you sure you want to do that on your call?
Always. This is your table. Are you not sitting at the table with us all?
Yeah, I'm picking up my dessert spoon here.
There you go.
Well, our calls are on Wednesdays and Thursday nights at 8:45 Eastern Time in the U.S., and the phone number is 218-936-4141, and the PIN code is 200. That's 200 100 100. So 200 100 pound. And it's usually a 3-hour call. Sometimes we go an hour later, but it comes on here in about another 15 minutes. So finish listening to Kate's call, and then if you feel like joining us, we'd love to have you. That's on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Love you guys. Kate, I love you, dear. Tony, I love you. And Johnny, I love you. And Swan, I love you too, dear one. God bless you, and good luck with your book.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, Carol.
I'll see you tomorrow night, you dear people.
Okay, Carol, much love to you, and yeah, as soon as I can figure out some way to call in with you guys, I'll join in some night.
Oh, we'd love it, and Kate, I love you dearly, honey. I think you're an answer to prayer for me.
And right back at you. There's your mirror, mirror.
Oh, you sweetheart. Thank you, honey.
All right,
have
love
a good
you,
one.
Too.
Okay,
you too.
Back at you, babe. Bye-bye.
All right, so getting back to the quandary that Johnny's friend is finding herself in.
But can I say something, Kate? Can I say something?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I understand that part, right? But what happens to sort of like the younger folks, like this girl? I think she's even younger than 22. I mean, she might be 19, 20. I know she's in, she's around that age. But anyhow, where's the evolution? In other words, the younger generation are a little bit more evolved. I mean, you can't understand. I mean, you cannot say that, for example, what took you such a long time to understand, that same path is not going to take a younger person in these days. They will probably absorb that information and understand it a lot quicker than we did. Or that you did. They
didn't have to walk through the minefield. Yeah, they didn't have to walk through the minefield.
Just as other people before you had to go through all that trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, before you were able to hone down on what you know. Yet it still was a process, right? But things are quicker now. So let's not forget that, though. But I do understand. Don't misunderstand me that I'm saying, well, just give me the pill, Kate. No, I understand that.
Johnny, no, I don't think that, and you know that, so don't even go there. What my frustration is very simply this, is that I am beating myself up because I want to be able to give people the clarity that I am seeking myself, and is almost there if I can get 10 minutes to myself in a day to let it download anymore, and then derailed here and derailed there. Which is no problem. I mean, I make myself available to people, but I always give a consideration to that. Be mindful. It's like Santo. Santo can't take all the calls that come into him. Otherwise, he'd never get anything done. He'd never get any research done. I'm just fortunate in that I'm a born multitasker. But I assure you, it's while I'm dealing with a lot of things that people have no idea what I'm going through. What I have to look at and go, drama, put it aside. But I still have to look at it to say drama and come into the now moment. Yes, the kids are going to be waking up a lot faster. I was talking with my friend Jim the other day. And he's bumped into some people, younger people, and these kids are already awake, talking about how corrupt the system is and this, that, and the other. So this awakening will not stop. It cannot. The tsunami is already ashore. The only thing left right now is to not get caught up in the drama mirrors that are being presented for you. Where attention goes, energy flows. Are you going to be spending all your time looking at some bullshit drama? Or maybe you're going to stop and go, okay, well, that's a false flag. Let's figure out why. All right. No, listen, everything that's going on is false flag, guys. Everything. And that's not to make less of anyone's work looking at it, whatever. It's great to see. Yeah, okay, great. It's a false flag. Ask yourself why. And don't give me any of this Second Amendment bullshit and all the rest of this crap that's still stuck in the physical. You got to look for the spiritual reasoning behind it. You got to look a little deeper than inside the box. On this, you got to get outside the box to have a better perspective on it. And while you're caught in the drama, you're not going to see anything because you're distracted with all these beautiful, pretty little, scary pictures. And that's what you're creating. Sorry, that's not what I create. I'll go, oh, look, another false flag. Don't care. Move on. It's not that I don't care about people or anything. It's I cannot allow myself the luxury any longer to rubberneck on this planet. And that's all you're doing. You're rubbernecking. Oh, look, somebody had a car accident. Why do you think there's traffic delays? Because everyone wants to rubberneck and see something different. It's exciting, it's new, it's fresh, it's drama. The same shit, the same funny vehicles with the flashy lights hanging around, the same sort of situation that happened last week and the week before, but everybody has to stop and have a good old gawk because they're so fascinated with the TV, Earth. And it's all a TV. It's all the world's a stage. Shakespeare said it. Pay attention. The clues are there. You will not find any answers in this illusion. You will find clues, however. And you better take those clues to heart. And you better find out if it resonates or not. And you better start looking at things from a different perspective, because insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. So go into court with your ID and see what's different about that. Nothing. And they'll hand you your ass because they can, and they're scared. I know they're scared, and they're protecting their own honor at all costs. They know that the ruse is up. You walk in with any semblance of I'm a free man or sovereign, they'll nail your ass to the cross real quick. That Judge Bow's video 2.5 years ago, you ain't going to get away with that shit now. That was a layer that was peeled. That was a lot of layers that was peeled that day. As a matter of fact, I look at that video in the units of time and I see something new every time. I see one more layer, one more depth. Yeah, great, the judge bows. Did anyone bother to ask the question, why? No, you're all caught up in the drama of, oh, look, a judge bowed. No, I looked at the why, and that's all I've looked at. Why? And here's the other empowerment part of it. The simple fact that he did bow, that's a bit of power there. You better see it for what it is. Because when forced to, they have to run. There's a universal thing at stake here. There's a dark principality unilateral contract. So start looking at the positives within things. Instead of, I have grown long weary of people trying to analyze that, and I'm going, you're missing it. You're missing the point. Tell you what, look at that video and then look at what they present on television and tell me if they're the same or not. Is that how a courtroom works? Is that how it normally happens? No. One of these things ain't like the other. So you better start looking at what is different instead of looking for all that, this common law this and that statute that and all. You're caught. You are so in the quagmire. You are in quicksand and you are sinking fast because you've got lead tied to your feet. But you're still gawking. You're still rubbernecking. Woo! Stop. That's your ego. That's a tricky little bastard trying to convince you that it's you, and it's not. Because I can see everyone. And this is the joy of me, and absolutely the terror as well. I can see everyone. But you are the most beautiful, beautiful creation in the universe. Why? Because I know you are. You're me. I'm you. You're me. We're all one. So stop beating yourself up by beating others up. Golden rule. That which you do unto others, you wish upon yourself. Stop wishing the harm on yourself by harming others. That's the pendulum. Time to swing it back to center. Get into some balance here. Start understanding how this universe works. We're not in Kansas anymore, guys. This is Oz. This is the Magic Kingdom, baby. This is where magic happens. This is Harry Potterville. You just forgot a few of your skills, and we're getting them back. So, but you got to remember, you're going to get some skills back where you have certain abilities again. Are you really ready to handle it in love, unconditional? Or are you going to just get that little magic wand out and become a Death Eater and start destroying Hogwarts? You see? That's the problem. You got to ask yourself if you're ready. I can't ask you. I know I'm not. And what I'm working at is that unconditional part, because that's what I came here to not only learn but to teach. How can you be unconditional in love if you place conditions on others around you? My own daughters, Sue, everyone mattered dearest and closest to me. No, they went through their own personal hell. If there's anything to be said here, if there's any apology to be made, it's mine. That I did not learn fast enough. That I did not stand strong enough. That I wasn't fearless enough. That I let the energies get to me. That I delayed. That I couldn't do this and couldn't do that and couldn't do the other. It wasn't for lack of trying, I assure you. But in that regard, in their eyes, I have failed. However, I will not fail them. That's okay. It's all good. This is why I do these shows. This is why I come on and do this. Because although I say I'm not interested in saving each individual, of course I am. But it's not my job to do that. In the process of saving myself, I am saving you in as much as you saving yourself is saving me. No one's coming to save you but you. And aren't you glad we're all in it together? I know I am. I've learned a lot. Comments?
Yes, I understand that, Kate, and but I still think that certain people have a little bit more, for the lack of word, a gift to be able to help others. Now, within that comment, it is not good because then we fall into the guru stuff. I'm sure that there's some people looking at you right now as a guru, right? The same as Santos and other folks.
Then that's their mistake. Because Johnny, I'm going to stop you here because this is going circular, bud, and I'm getting tired of this circle. What I'm trying to get across to people, you take from me whatever you resonate with, as long as it is real and feels right to you. I am no one's guru. I am my own, and I will never claim that, and that only a fool will look to another to save them. My hope is that what I'm sharing will resonate and make you remember what you already know. We're not learning anything. Santos said it. There is nothing new under the sun. We are simply remembering. Okay, so that I need to make crystal clear, because people see, I'm not handing out anything for people to do anything with. What I am demonstrating is, here's what I'm doing. Have a look. See what you find that resonates with you. And then if something does, make it your own. Don't be using my shit because it's mine. There's no copyright on it. You go ahead if you want. But do not ever turn around to me and say, well, Kate, I did this and I got that. And says, well, okay, that's you. And it's not me. And besides, you did something that I wouldn't do anyway. So the equation ends right there. I am only doing that which I need to do. Nothing more, nothing less. And in that process, I will share. And if people resonate, great. And if they don't, great. Am I going to love them any more or less? No, because it's unconditional. It's complete infinite. So, again, anyone that would even dream of looking at me as some guru or whatever, give your head a shake. Stop worshiping outside of yourself. Ye are gods. If that's one thing that I get across to you guys, that's all I need to get across.
Well, I got to tell you, though, ever since I started praying to myself, things have gotten much better in my life.
Isn't that funny, eh?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, even when you express, well, I ask my higher self or my divine self in another plane or whatever, you're still separating yourself, right? So yep. I'm serious. I started to giving me thanks, giving me asking me to help me or praying to myself, and man, things have changed a lot. I got to say that, and I'm going to continue to do it because it's working. And I realize that even though we have this tendency to say, I ask my higher self or my spirit, we're still looking to separate ourselves, right? Or we still think that we're separated, and things would sort of manifest slowly, or they would appear here and there, but it was not the way it should be. So now when I sort of had that little awakening there, I started doing that, and just things have become a lot easier, and that has led us into this whole project with Santos and all these wonderful people coming on board and sharing their information and their talents, and some with money, others with just help, whether they're graphic designers, script.
Oh. Not sure if that's me or Johnny that got bumped there. Looking for Johnny.
Okay.
Are you still there? Yeah?
I can hear you, Kate. It's fine.
Okay, looks like Johnny got bumped. Yeah, I'm just going down the board there to make. Yeah, he got bumped, so I'll bring him back in. Also, I did want to bring some callers in. We're going to roll past the hour here for sure, because I'm just in that kind of mood. So if you guys want to hang out with me, let's have some fun and chat. But the truth of the matter is, thou shalt have no false idols before thee. You're it, guys. You are it. And you need to look in that mirror and understand this, right? All your woes are those things that you're worshiping outside of yourself. It's been a long, hard road for me. And
hello? Okay.
And I just hear you're going to jump in. So I'm just finishing a thought here. If I can remember where I was now, that's what I get for opening your line. No, again, it's about having false idols before yourself, right? Just reinforcing what you were saying, Johnny, in a easy to understand way of people need justifiers. Here it is. The false idols outside of you are those things that you are worshiping that you are giving the power of being the master to, instead of looking in the mirror and understanding that you are that you are creation itself, that you are the all and all of the one. You're the one that we've been waiting for. You see? And everyone says that. And you'll start seeing what the all is all about. Anyway. Yeah. I was just saying there, Johnny, we got about 14 minutes or so left on the air, but I'm going to run past the hour for sure. I just want to get the thanks out for criticalmassradio.co.uk. I'll get Tony to jump in here. We've got some new stuff coming up because he's got more idea of what's going on than I do with regards to Critical Mass Radio. So I'll get him to talk.
Can you hear me? Am I on, Kate?
Yeah, of course you're on. I've got your mic unmuted.
Okay, yeah. I have to actually run right now. I just wanted to get that last thought in, and I need to get back to the stuff here. But thank you for having me here and sharing my crazy thoughts.
Oh, they're not crazy.
And I just want to remind our friends to please visit bonacciDeFilm.com and take a look at the page there. Santos will be here in Ecuador in exactly 1 week, 7 days, next Wednesday. He will be arriving, and we've done some great stuff here preparing for Santos' arrival and creating at least 5 lectures where he's going to be giving his information in English and in Spanish. There's a lot of English-speaking folks here in Ecuador as well. And so he's going to present his material about syncretism, the science of light. And we're very excited. Everyone is eager to meet him. We have contacted many people that are very interested and that have just heard his name has come up, and they want to help, and they want to have Santos present the material that we've been sharing with your radio station and also in our television, Quantum Leap Television. So I just want to remind everyone just to please visit the page and help us out with whatever you can. Send us good energy. that we're going to get this wonderful project done in the month of May. Thank you, guys. And
awesome.
Good luck.
Hey, thank you, and we'll chat sooner than later. Santa was on Friday night, so feel free to pop in there if you want. Same place, just different show, same links and whatever. So, but yes, BonacciTheFilm.com. We've been promoting that for quite a while, and we'll keep on while he's there as well. All forms of support are greatly appreciated. There it is. So thank you, Johnny.
Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you. Ciao.
Take care.
Absolutely.
Ciao.
Nice to do the chat room, guys. Cheers, Johnny.
Ciao. Take it easy, Tony.
Okay, Tony. So what do we got coming up with Critical Mass Radio main station?
Absolutely. Well, we're taking on another slot. We're working with Paul very closely, as most people have figured out by now. And we've been asked to do a slot between 6 and 8 on Critical Mass. Or is it 6 and 9? Yeah, 6 and 8. And we're going to start, I believe, crikey, was it Tuesday or was it Thursday? I can't remember. Just looking.
I don't know. It was a cryptic message you left me. I think it looked like Tuesday potentially. So.
Yeah, because it got changed around at one point. That was the problem. But if you give us a couple of seconds, I'll find it out. But yeah, we're going to start doing a show with Paul. Really, just to get information out there. It's the same type of thing that we do. On ours. It's Tuesday 6 till 8. And that'll be a regular slot once.
Yeah, that's just to make things very clear for those of us that might live in North America or different time zones. That's 6 to 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which is looks like 1 to 3 Eastern Standard, 1 to 3 p.m. So afternoons here, evenings in the UK. Is that right? You got it?
Yeah, absolutely right. I'm just finding the link now, and I'm going to pop the link in the chat room as well, so that people know where to look. Yeah, so that'll be good. That'll be a good show. We'll have, obviously there'll be their audience as well, and it'll really boost, boost getting the information out there, which is what it's all about, guys and girls.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you get just a lot of background noise with you there, Tony. Sorry about that. Never know when I can talk and when I can't. So there we are. Swan, we're going to be running for a little bit here, but let's hear a little bit more from you as far as the book and whatnot. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, what would you like to hear?
Anything you want to share, Mahan.
Well, I just really want this book to get out there because I know that there are so many messages in there for people at this time to uplift them and remind them of that connection. And it's really challenging for all of us to hold that connection all the time with the challenges that we're facing and the muddy walk that we're walking right now, no mud, no lotus. And we've got to be birthing some big lotuses because there's a hell of a lot of mud. And this book is really an allegory of that. So anyway, anyone that would like to host me on their show or talk about the book or talk about the concepts in the book or like a free copy of the book, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from everybody and anybody and just, get this show rolling. I've worked on this for 10 years. It started when Jesus appeared to me 10 years ago and I was on my deathbed. And it's been a very long birthing process. But I know that it's time. And I know Spirit wants this book out there. And I know there are people out there who will be transformed just by reading it. And that's the feedback I'm getting from the few so far who have read it, is that they've had amazing holy experiences with it. And this is not New Age people. This is really mainstream people. So it's very much a mainstream book. And the more we get it out there, the sooner it can be a movie and the sooner it can shift the planet back towards that walking a holy way, walking a sacred way, the sacred world renaissance that we're working to recreate. And
Wonderful.
I feel quite emotional talking about it because I can't convey how powerful it is, how powerful the journey of walking the story of Jesus' secret wife is, because in a sense she's the secret divine self within all of us.
Sounds really intriguing.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having a hell of a time with the mouse here trying to unmute, so my apologies on that. Hey, I'd offer up the 1 to 3 Eastern Standard Time slot for the first show, but that'll probably be about 4 in the morning for you. So I definitely have a few friends in radio that will definitely be getting you in touch with to get you so busy you will wish that you didn't open your mouth tonight. Fair?
Oh, look, I am longing to be busy. I've lived like a nun and a recluse for 10 years whilst I've been writing this book, and I'm really over the nundom. I'm sure I've done it plenty of past lives, and I thought I dealt with the nun issues, and I'm really ready for a spicy, busy life. So bring it on. Let's get juice running all over the planet.
Well, I'll tell you, there's only one nun left here, and that is the Egyptian goddess of destruction, of taking down this evil in this old system. So you can hand over the nun title. I'll take it. Thank you. Just like that, eh? Isn't that funny?
You're welcome.
There we go. Now we got to get you busy. So what I think I will do now is I'll start opening up some phone lines here, and I think I just got to reduce this. That's the problem. Oh, I wish the screen was bigger. This 8-inch screen just doesn't cut it for me. Yes, I do shows on a notebook, guys. Okay, yeah, we got just over 5 minutes left here. We've done our thank yous to Critical Mass Radio. Paul, Lisa, crew, you guys rock. You know that, and I'll make sure I say that every night. So let's open up some lines and take some questions, comments, and I'm just going to roll this until it don't roll no more. So area code 616-92. First two numbers, area code 616. Your mic is open. Questions or comments?
Hey, Kate, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. This is now I'm going to be committing fraud here because I'm giving
no, you're
my
not.
name.
You see, the fact that you just
it's
said that.
Willis.
Willis, the fact that you said that, you just cleared your name.
Right. I don't want to be committing fraud. I wanted to tell you, love, that I've been emailing a lot of places with that the letter you put. And I made it my own by inserting a certain key phrases, and I've been sending it out. So, and this weekend, it seemed like I've been having internet problems all of a sudden, my email got locked out a few times. But other than that, I've been sending letters out, and I'm feeling good about it, and I know who I am, and I'd like to thank you for that. It's been quite a journey, that's for sure. And it was funny, and let me mention this about when I Santos did my birth chart, and it was so funny because I've already lived it. And so when he was telling me about the first 30 years of my life and all the hesitations, I was just laughing my hind end off. I just thought it was too funny.
That's awesome. You know, you bring up such a great point, and you see, here's exactly what I'm talking about. What Willis is doing, and the opening line he came in, he says, "Here I am going to commit fraud." But the fact is, you've already clicked on it. Your intent has shifted. You are no longer with the intent of using that because you know there was non-disclosure with your parents, and of course, there's no forgiveness required. Your parents didn't know, so there's no crime there. You see, so what we've done is we've neutralized it. Now we hand it back to them and say, well, listen, you know, I know my parents sold it. That's yours. Is it your wish now for me to commit fraud, aid and abet, and be to be a party to contempt of court here? It's not my intention to incriminate myself. Is that the court's intention to do so? Because anything involving that name, either you use it or I use it, I don't want to use it because it ain't mine. Now who's committing fraud? Tables turned. New game. Just like that, eh?
Yeah, just like that. It's exciting because I thought I was going to be going to court here, back in 2011, and I was listening to Pete Goslin for a while, and I did a few letters, but I used my name, but then I boxed it in.
So I took it off the paper.
So I took it off the paper, exactly, but I wanted them to know who they were talking to through the letter. But anyways, I kept them at bay, this little tax collecting thing. So, but anyways, like I said, I've been emailing it, and I've also, even the church that I grew up in, I emailed that church twice because they're also committing fraud.
Well, yeah, it's church and state. This is the separation of you from church and state. You know,
right.
Mom and Dad get married in a church or city hall or whatever the case is. It's all the same thing. Court is church. Have a look at it. It's all there.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. But what I was getting at is I look to them people or my pastor as a spiritual guide or whatever, and here it was all fraud.
Well, yeah, you know, and something else.
That's the crazy part. Once people get over that, the religious psychosis and stuff like that, and they can make it. They really can. They can see the whole thing. They really can.
Yeah, all the way from here.
Yes, all the way. I'm telling you, I'm right next to you.
Right on. No, I can see
right
your light from here. I can, and we're gonna go. We're gonna go off. I was gonna say we're gonna go off the air in about a minute, but we're gonna roll into the archives. So make sure you download the archives.
It was one. Yeah.
No,
I was
going
to
to
let you go, Kate. It was great talking to you. Gosh dang, I enjoy it so much. I listen to your shows all the time, and I'm so glad you had over 100,000 listeners the other day. That just made me smile. That just made me so happy to hear that.
It was amazing. That's our best yet on Critical Mass. We had 124,500 tuned in.
That's wonderful.
And Santo's show on the Friday, we had 91,100.
Wow.
So the numbers are there.
That is great.
The people are awakening.
That is great.
I
love it. I post things online and, on Facebook and things, and share as much as I can.
That's all we got to do.
I mean, what can what else can I do? If it falls on deaf ears, it falls on deaf ears, or blind eyes,
Well, Willis, the intent is what I've been talking about, and what you've done is change that intent. And now it's into a willful act. And that's what makes a difference. And it wasn't such a big baby step to have to take, now was it, you think?
No, it wasn't. It actually was quite easy because I've known who I was for quite some time. I just, you always got, like you always say, that little ego thing is always right there, Gosh, you don't want to, go to jail and all that stuff. So that's always on your mind. But I figure, well, this body is not me, so they can do whatever they want to it.
Yeah, and they won't be able to now because when you stand in truth, you become in the untouchable realm.
Right, and I noticed that right away when I was dealing with. I'll just say it. I live in Grand Rapids, and so I was Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I was dealing with a tax thing with the city, and I was going at it blinded, really, and I was just listening, taking all the information in, and just sending out a letter. And like I said, this is back in 2011, and then I got my last letter in 2012, and they've left me alone.
Well, so as soon as you turn the tables on them, that's the thing, and that's what I'm formulating right now for people to get an understanding. Yeah. And I'm trying to make it template-ish so people can just make it their own very, very easily, But again,
right. I think that's one thing that people, they like those templates. They really do. I don't know why, but they do. And I just looked at your letter, and I just took out the personal stuff with your family, and just inserted my personal stuff in there. It was really easy peasy, like you always say. There was nothing to it, and then I just started firing them off,
And boy, what a difference that makes. And you see, that's the thing too. Now it's Willis's. It's not Kate's. This is the point I'm trying to make. This is not a protest.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a reality check. This is knowing who you are. My family motto, I'm living up to it. Know thyself. Fair?
Yep. I always knew there was something wrong with the system, Kate. I just never knew what it was until 7 years ago, and it just has been a avalanche of information coming at me. It really has. Some of it was hard to to handle, because it was pretty deep and pretty dark. But here I am. So.
You're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, exactly when you're supposed to. It's all show, and we're taking the stage now, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yep, and I've talked to my friends about that. I said we wouldn't even be sitting at this table if things didn't happen in our lives the way they did to bring us to this moment.
Exactly. Every decision this is one thing I like to remind people of. Every decision you have ever made throughout your entire existence has you right where you are right now. That's why I used to use the example of two cars coming at each other at an intersection. One turns in front of the other one, and they end up in a collision. Whose fault is it? Well, it's both, because they were both there. Every decision they had made up to that point brought them there. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, there was one fear that I always used to say all the time. I got a friend that always plays that video game Sims. And I told him, I said, if that's what we are, it's like a Sims game, I'm going to be very mad. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry, it's that mute thing with my mouse. It doesn't like working all the time. So, no, I generally, I always mute out when I'm not talking. That way, any background noise like what's going on right now doesn't get heard. But anyway. No, well, that's great, Willis. Hang in there for the rest of the call. I'm going to try to open up the lines here and see what other things people are doing to, change their universe, change their world.
Well, thank you for taking the time, Kate. Love you much.
Love you back, my friend. Love you all, absolutely. And hey, you didn't take any time that you didn't give.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
No more duality. Stop. Love you.
Right.
I'll put you back on hold here. Thanks, my friend.
Okay, honey.
All right. Okay. Let's move on here. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the intent. That's intent change. So we have area code 915 88. First two numbers. Area code 91588. Questions or comments? Someone just listening. Okay, moving on. Like I said, I do like to take the opportunity to get people in the show as much as possible. Area code 810-33. Area code 810-33. Your mic's open. Questions or comments? Okay. Area code 316-99. Area code 316-99. Questions or comments? Listening? Okay. Area code 208. First two numbers, 45. Area code 20845. Questions or comments? Okay. And area code 612. Let's do that one. Area code 612. Oh, come on. Get back on hold there. This is so much fun. Area code 61271. There you are now.
Here
Sorry,
I am.
A sec. Yeah, it takes a sec for this thing to react. Anyway, how are you doing?
Okay. Good. I'm doing good tonight. Can you recognize my voice?
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking it might be...
Who am I?
Elizabeth?
Yeah, you see my number. You know my number.
Well, I see a lot of numbers. You should see the numbers I see here. Like, it's... yeah, it's a voice. I recognize the voice.
Okay.
I'm a sonic, right?
Yeah. I wanted to ask about Swan's book. How long is that? A really big book, or is it a quick? I mean, how many pages is in the book? Do you know?
I'm here.
Hi, Swan.
Hi.
Oh.
Hi. Nice to meet you, Elizabeth. No, it's not a big book. I mean, it's a big book in terms of energy and consciousness, but it's not a huge book to read. It's about 140 pages of quite large print. And the idea is, you read it slowly. It's a journey. It's an experience. It's not just a book that you read and, drop in the bath a few times. But you could read it in an evening or 2 evenings if you wanted to.
Okay. Basically, it's a book that teaches you a lot about who you are. Am I correct?
Well, it doesn't teach. It demonstrates who we are.
Okay.
So
That's
as
good.
we read about her life and her experiences and what happened with her and Jesus and the whole setup of their life, why it was kept a secret, why it was locked behind seals until this time on the planet, is because we have to remember who she is inside us, within each one of us. So we are her, we are the divine feminine, the Christed feminine, remembering who we are. And that's what happens as you read the book. It sort of jolts the subconscious and the unconscious, the ancient memory of our divine heritage.
Okay.
And
so I'm remembering the ancient past. Yeah.
Yeah. So the meaning for that in this day and age as well, which, let's make it real. It's not just a story about the past. It's about remembering that, literally bringing those member parts of ourselves, like Osiris, remembering the parts of ourselves, the divine parts of ourselves, so that we can transform our lives and existence on the planet at this time.
Well, thank you for that. And I asked because I'm just getting a little click in my heart. I do have so I'm willing to help you out, in faith and belief, listening to you what that is. Because I have a little phone conference call just every other Saturday, and it's called Diamonds Forever, because we are limitless and we do sparkle, more than sparkle. But I've been looking, and basically what the motto is on the Diamonds Forever is learning who we really are, and, all that. So, and I've been looking for something, to read a page or two, or every time we're on, added to other things that we do. And I would also like to see if you would want to come to the call and talk for 10, 15, 20 minutes.
I would absolutely
would you be willing?
I would love to do that, and I would love to read some of the book, because a lot of it is poetic and very lyrical. It lends itself very well to reading the excerpts, because each one is, in a sense, a diamond for...
Oh, wow.
So I would absolutely love to do that. So please, let's connect. And how do I get hold of you?
I was going to ask Kate. Kate, you could see my number. Can you give my number to Swan?
I am already working on it. And Swan, you cannot call the mainland U.S., right?
Yeah, I can. I can.
Okay, then I will actually, while I've got you, I will text you the number right now so that you have it, because I'm just that efficient. Get it done now.
Yeah,
wow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
Just to mention there, I've actually popped into your chat room a link that one of the listeners gave us tonight, and it gives you international free calls, apparently. So there's a link in there if there's any help.
Okay, you broke up a lot there, Tony. I didn't catch 20% of
the link into your chat box or Skype. And that allows international free telephone calls.
Oh, there we go. Okay, then I'll definitely have a look at that. Okay, well, just let me get this done. So I just got to get the alt here. Okay, I'm texting you the number now. Okay, Swan, just so you have it. Yes, we are that efficient on Critical Mass Radio, and make sure I got. And that and that. Okay. So there it goes. Swan now has your number. I've just texted it to her. And I love this. Nothing like texting Australia to talk to the U.S. Talk about doing the dime. There's your triangle right there, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Kate. And I was just wondering if I could give that number to everybody for Saturday. We do have a call Saturday. Yeah.
Please. This is your show, hon. This is yours. You got something to get out there. You're at the table. Show us how you eat. Get the word out.
Okay, so it's this Saturday at 1 p.m. Central, USA time. And unfortunately, it's a phone call. But we set it up so we can have international callers, although they have to call a different number. And I'll talk to Swan about that, and I can. I'll give our email in case somebody else is out there international and they can't get through the number that I give. Is that okay?
I think I gave you the green light, green light, green light.
Okay.
Oh, hey, look at that.
Right.
And the number came through to Swan at 1111. Huh?
Oh,
there you go.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
There you go.
That's a sign and a wonder to me. So thank you. That's encouragement. Thanks for that.
That's all things for a reason.
Okay.
Huh? Email is?
The phone number first is 209-255-1000. And if you want to listen to some archives, the same phone number except the last four numbers are 1099. And the PIN number is 883267#. 883267#. And, I just lost what I was going to say. And, our email, if you guys are international callers and you can't get through that number, email at diamondsforever31@yahoo.com. Diamondsforever31@yahoo.com. And I just want to let everybody know, too, we will be hosting the Citizens Hearing UFO Disclosure that's coming up here April 29th through the May 3rd. It's all-day-long conference. It's live streaming on the Internet. But I know there's a lot of people out there that don't have the Internet right now. We'll host that. I'll hook up my phone to the computer, and you guys can hear it live. So, all right, that's good, Kate, and thank you for that.
That sounds great. I want some details on that, please.
Details on the Citizens Hearing?
Yeah, the UFO disclosure. That's my subject.
Oh, is this Tony?
It most certainly is, my dear.
Oh, okay. All right, nice to meet you. All right, I've been doing some studying on that. The website for that is citizenhearing.org. Citizen with no S, citizenhearing.org. And if they're going to have from 8 o'clock in the morning, on lunch break and break, two panels, two tables with panels on it that will do a presentation in the morning. Then they're going to break for lunch, and then another panel, blah, blah, blah. And then at 7 o'clock to 9 p.m., they're going to have a witness, like an ex-military colonel, testify of what they know and what they have experienced with UFOs and ETs, or the new guys, I'll call them the new guys, to retired congressmen and retired government people all around the world. So people that are going to testify are lieutenants, governors, congressmen, military, all of those guys.
We have the name.
Pardon?
You said ex-military guys. Do we have any names? We talking Robert Keane, or we talking who? We talking?
Absolutely. If you go to the website, they have everybody that's going to testify, at what time, and even at night. You'll find it all there. He's been putting up the schedule.
Okay.
It's from the Paradigm Shift Project, Mr. Bassett. And they are going to make a documentary out of this whole Citizens Hearing UFO disclosure, and that'll be out. There's like 30 news media people that have already done stories on their local news in newspapers like Washington Post and blah, 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 this month and last month, and then into March and February. They're going to do probably longer news things. They're scheduled to do that. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've met Stephen Bassett on a number of occasions in London. But yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. But there's a lot more going on behind the scenes as well, which is even more intriguing. So, all good stuff. Thank you.
Oh, I like to be shocked, Tony. You can shock me anytime.
Perfect. All right, so we got all the info out. Good. All right. Was that so hard, Elizabeth?
Huh?
Was that so hard? No. You got your hooked up with Swan. You got your promo out. That's what we're here for, hon. This is what we do this together. You see, everyone has this notion that somehow there's competition on the air. Are you kidding me? Competition? That's for meat sticks. No, we are co-creators now. So the only my favorite question is, Kate, is it okay if I ask you a question? You just did. You know, right. again, is it okay if I promote truth and can I think about it? Of course, that's what we're here for. This is an open stage. This is an open forum. This is your platform. I just push buttons.
Yeah. On
screen and off. Promise. Just
well,
like that.
I know this is my next journey. I know this is my next journey to this phone call, and I would love to hear, in other phone calls in the near future, some more on how we are the value, we are the energy, and we don't need money, we don't need gold. It's each of us individually. We are everything, individually.
That's my message.
And together.
That's my message, and I'm not deviating from it. I'm just trying to clarify it so people can actually grasp that that's how important they are. So and we're getting
are
there.
One.
Exactly. Yeah. When I hear calls like from Willis tonight, that is doing and it's just a couple of clicks on a mouse on a screen, taking something that can resonate with you. And if something I've written resonates and you make it your own and play with it and do whatever, I mean, you can't plagiarize truth, you see. That's the joy of it. And you can't copyright it either. It just kind of is. So that's where I am, and this is the piece of the puzzle I hold, and I will not yield it. So by all means, have at her, and let's get this job done once and for all.
I'm ready to do it too. Let's get it done, right? Let's do it.
You got it, kiddo. All right. Well, I've got a couple more calls to go down the list here, Elizabeth, but always a pleasure to have you. And if I'd have known it was you and I clicked the button, I wouldn't have set out the area code, and I would have. Anyway, now I will remember because I typed it in. So. Uh-oh. Oh, there's Elizabeth, baby. We better sort her out. All right. Thanks, hon. Great that you got the information out. Great that you got hooked up with Swan. So hang in there.
I look forward to hearing from you, Swan. Yeah.
Oh, I thought Swan was going to jump in there. Okay. So
I'm here. Yeah, you'll be hearing from me. I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you all. Love you all. So good that this is happening.
Awesome. See, that's what it's all about, connecting the dots and getting people together because we do this together. It's that simple. So we got 3 callers left on the list here that I can see. Area code 71964. Area code 71964. Mic's open. Questions or comments? Just listening? Okay. And area code 93775. Area code 93775. Waiting for it to open here. There it is. Their mic's open. Any questions or comments?
Hey, Kate. No, I just called in at 8:59 so I could hear the rest of the show after it went off air.
Oh, there you go. Well, glad to have you. Anything you want to say? You're here. It's just a phone call.
No, just I was very the 125,000 people is, borderline miraculous. That was amazing.
Isn't that something, eh? Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That just shows to me that the torches are lit out there and people are awakening. And it's got nothing to do with look what our show's doing. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's like, is the message getting out? Are people getting this? Is the consciousness getting saturated with truth? And that's all I care about. And the more that show up, the merrier, because the only thing that's going to prove is that you are awake, is that you are looking, that you are on fire. And, we gather all these beautiful little torches and we got ourselves one monster bonfire. And that's all I'm interested in. That's it. Fame, if I wanted fame, oh my God, I certainly wouldn't be doing this. I promise. Would have been an easier journey and I would still have my house and my family, so it's, it's all good here.
You got infamy.
Yeah, I think that's what I got. I got the mirror of fame. I got the infamy part of it. So it's all good, listen, we do this together, and I'm just happy to have you guys here. This is a beautiful thing. And I think tomorrow night we got Tammy and Pat on tomorrow night with Leaving the Farm, so maybe with Friday night with Santo's show, we'll start dealing up some Alex Jones fear porn style. What do you think? No? I didn't think so either. But anyway, thank you so much for calling in. I'll put you back on hold. I've talked to you off enough. We got one more caller, and then I guess we'll wrap things up here. Area code 410. If I can get the mic there, it's kind of hidden below my bar here. There, got it. Area code 41046. Any questions or comments? You're the last caller. Come on, you can do it. No? Okay. Well, we tried, right? So, all right. I know I didn't drive the nail home to where I wanted it to be tonight, but that's only because it hasn't been driven home to me yet, and that's what I'm going to be meditating on right after we get off the show here. But it was great to have everyone calling in, Carol and Johnny. That was a great discussion. And I think my own frustration with not being able to be clear enough. Again, this is not upon anyone else but myself. If the message isn't getting out, it's not anyone's fault for not hearing it, right? It's my inability to get it across, but I will. I promise, I will. It'll come across clear, and I'll have something put together that people can look at, to read, to make their own, to see if it is resonant with them. And for all those listening in the U.S., your main point of entry with existing is through the Secretary of State. All right? It all goes back to the Department of Transportation at the end of the day, but bottom line is this. Secretary of State is your point of fraud revealing. I chose the registry office direct in Belfast because I knew exactly where it was, and that's where I got the fraud forms from. So take it back to source. But for those in the U.S., and I'm not sure in Canada who it would be, I'll figure that out and we'll share that. But the bottom line is just get it out to everybody. The fraud's revealed. We got to stand and do this together en masse, because that's where we take the consciousness back, and we get rid of this dark principality once and for all. And of course, when that light shows up for them, do unto others as you have them do unto you. And I wish no one any harm. Those that awaken to it and repent, which is repent, is the Son of God, pen in the mind, T, note of love. And by your actions you will be known. And you will be either praised or condemned for either. So we get to make the choice, the free will choice. Do we want to stand in contempt of all creation, or to be with all creation? I'm okay with being with it. That kind of works for me. So if you, Swan, if you have any final comments you want to make, and Tony, have at her.
Yeah, I'll just have a couple of comments, just briefly, quickly before we go. I'm just looking at this website now with information about the Citizens Hearing on Disclosure. We have Paul Hellyer appearing there, would you believe?
Oh, good, good.
Absolutely, he's one of the main men that is actually talking the truth. But we've also got people, apparently, by their own admission, like Admiral Lord Hill Norton of the UK Chief of Defence, who's talking utter crap. There is a serious possibility, lies, that we are being visited by people from outer space. Lies. They know we are, and they know they've been here longer than we have. So that, for a start, gives you an idea with both sides just on that one front opening page. So it'll be an interesting event. Looking good.
Awesome. And don't forget, I'll let you get your last word in here, Swan. Don't forget, you can get all the information you need regarding Tony, Santo, and myself on Syncrenicity.com. That's www.syncrenicity.com. So stop by, pay us a visit, and better not, don't pay us a visit, just show up. Oh, I hate that word. Pay per. Anyway. Swan, final comments, and we'll definitely get you back probably next week at some point to further promote that which you are doing. So share with us your final comments.
My final comments. I'm feeling rather sad about it all actually right now. It just sometimes feels so overwhelming, and all I know is we can just keep connecting and talking to each other and getting reality checks. You know, I had something sent to me during the show from a supposed enlightened master who seems to be doing good stuff, and I've met and seems very authentic, but Tony tells me that's a fraud. So it's this maze that we wander in, and we really need to be connecting to each other and taking these reality checks so that we can get to the truth of our own reality and find out what's true for us and where to go with it all.
Exactly. And remember this, everyone, the deceivers are everywhere. And as fate would have it, we seem to attract them really, really good. Which is good, because I want people at my table to see how they eat, and if they eat like pigs, well, I know who they are then, right? And I think I know who you're referring to, so we'll leave that at that. But yes, we have exposed a few individuals that are less than what they are claiming to be, far less than what they are claiming to be, still trapped in the ego, not to make wrong, not to make right. Unfortunately, there are some that are still fighting, kicking, and screaming to make the ending of this game even more fun. We're done, guys. Time to move on. This is boring. But anyway, that being said, much love to everyone that called in, tuned in, and joined us tonight. And for all those that have grabbed the archive, there you go. You got it right to the very end. So much love to everybody. Thank you so much, criticalmassradio.co.uk. Paul and Lisa for giving us this platform each and every night, and now we get to do it even more on the main station, which is going to be even more fun. So we're happy about that, and go ahead, try and shut me up. Much love to everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow night on Leaving the Farm here on Critical Mass Radio Online. Links will be posted in Facebook and Skype, and that's from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, midnight. Educational. So I'll catch you guys on the flip side there. I generally sit in and chat with that as well. So much love to everybody. Take care, and we'll catch you tomorrow night. And much love.
Much love to you.
God bless. Thanks for listening. Come on.